Hey, shit. What it do? What it do? Where's everybody at, man? No. Quick notice, quick notice. We are back in the building. The Raiders have some major issues. We will get into all that. Houston, there is a problem, is what they say in NASA, right? When everything goes wrong and everything fails. Well, the Raiders are failing in Houston. There is a problem. Speaking of Houston, the Raiders will be in Houston to take on the Houston Texans, one of the hardest hitting, nastiest defense in all of the NFL. And it's not going to be an easy task. The Raiders cannot pick up first downs. They cannot continue drives. They cannot hold on to the ball. They cannot move the ball. They cannot block. They cannot pass. They cannot tackle. And they are going against one of the top teams in the NFC with a great young quarterback, two nasty, nasty defensive ends, and it's going to be a long, long, long day in Houston for the Las Vegas Raiders if something doesn't happen overnight, which is not. So the Raiders, we all know, are battling for that number one spot. They are sitting in number two right now. Great position to be in, right? A lot of people want to move up to get a quarterback. We will talk about that. Unfortunately, there may not be a whole bunch of quarterbacks in this draft, and Mendoza may be the only one. So we'll break that down. We'll get into that. Also, the Raiders are moving on from the little birdie in my ear. They are already planning on the next season. They are already looking ahead to the offseason. They are already looking at coaching options. We will break down some of that. There are a lot of coaching options. So, from the little birdie in my ear, said the Raiders are done with Geno. They are done with Pete Carroll. Neither one of them should be back, barring some, crazy miracle. But you never know. It's the NFL. Anything can happen. Maybe we go on a 3-game winning streak and just blow out, the next three teams in the Houston Texans, the New York Giants, and the Kansas City Chiefs with Gardner Minshew. It would be a crazy task, right? But it could happen. Geno's back. The back is fixed. Magically, the shoulder is fixed. Back, shoulder. The finger is fixed. The good finger is fixed for him. So, Geno's back. It could change, right? Everything could just magically work in week 15 of the NFL season. However, that's probably not going to happen. And like I said, from what I'm hearing, a little birdie in my ear says Pete's time is probably done. Geno Smith is more than likely done, and the Raiders are moving on to the future and already looking for the next quarterback and new head coach. So, barring a miracle, we will have the same thing this offseason that we have every offseason, a new coaching search, new offensive coordinator search. Will there be a new defensive coordinator search? From what I'm hearing in the building, Patrick Graham may be done with the Raiders before the Raiders are done with him. He doesn't seem to get any respect. He's dealt with three different coaches, three different regimes, and he's been handcuffed, and handcuffed. The man, is taking all the credit, for a bad defense. When we all know damn well, you can't look me in the eye and tell me that Pete Carroll doesn't have his hands in everything that is going on in the defense. Whether who starts, who plays, who comes in, who comes out. And the same on the offense, man. Pete Carroll's a control freak. We see it. We've seen it in Seattle. So Patrick Graham, Robbie Leonard, like I said 2 days ago when I was live, right? The blowout for the Philadelphia Eagles was the best thing that could possibly happen to the Raiders this season. I think it opened a lot of eyes around the NFL. It opened a lot of eyes in the building that this team is bad, bro. Salute, what's good? Appreciate everybody in the building. Software update ready. What? This team is bad, and I think it, opened a lot of eyes when we get blown out by two Super Bowl teams, 31-0. Both of them take out their starters in the third quarter, and we still can't stop them from scoring. We can't stop their backups. It's bad, and I don't think it's all of the players. I think they've just given up on the coaching staff, and I don't think they've given up on each other, which is a damn good thing because it seems like it's a tight knit unit inside the building. other than some guys yelling and screaming at each other when nobody has a right to point fingers on this defense at all. Because I don't care who you are, how much money you make, or what the name is on the back of your jersey. Nobody on this defense has really done their 111, right? Nobody. So, um, but I think it's just people upset. Nobody wants to be 2-12. Nobody wants to be blown out twice in a season. Nobody wants to be part of a team who has had 4 sacks and less than 75 yards in 8 games this season. Golly. And we expect these dudes to come out here and still want to play. It's absolutely wild what we expect of these NFL players, man. They're human, right? And I know I talk a lot of shit about a lot of people, a lot of players. And, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. But it is what it is. But they are human, man. And we ask a lot of these NFL players. Speaking of NFL players, Max Crosby, right? Max Crosby is back. He practiced today. But should Max Crosby be practicing? I want to bring this up because I read a report, right? I read a report, and I don't know if the reporter meant to say what he was saying or if it just kind of slipped up. But he said Max Crosby would be ready to go in Houston if he could get his knee drained. Now, I'm not going to say the report because I don't know if the dude meant to say that or put it in the report. I'm sure the Las Vegas Raiders did not want that there if this is the case. If Max Crosby needs his knee drained, is it the same knee that he had a problem with last year that, risked his life playing football or 2 years ago, risked his life playing football, because the knee was infected. He couldn't get it drained. So, bro, if this is really the case, if this report is true that Max Crosby is, having issues with the knee again and it needs to be drained, this is a huge problem. We are 2-12. We are not trying to end the career of Max Crosby, one of the greatest players we've ever had in Raider Nation, in the silver and black, and we're trying to risk this man's career over Pete Carroll's job. This just makes no sense to me. No sense whatsoever. So I hope Max Crosby's knee as well. I hope it's not the same issue that he was dealing with 2 years ago, with the infection and the bacteria in there that, like they said, if he didn't have it drained, if it burst, it could have cost him his life. Not a good look. Not a good look, right? So I wouldn't put it past this organization at this point, but man, that is not something that you want to play with, right? And I know Max Crosby is Max Crosby, and you have to stop Max Crosby from himself. But if it's the same knee that needs drained and it's the same issue, it's time to just call it quits for Max, right? We don't have to worry about his sack record, if he's going to make the Pro Bowl. I know everybody else is worried about that, but man, I'm worried about this man's health, right? It's a serious situation if it's the same problem. And I'm not saying it is, just a report I read, so we'll go off that. Also, Geno Smith is back, right? He said he plans on winning a whole lot of games for the Las Vegas Raiders. He also said he planned on being the least turnover quarterback in the NFL the second half of the season. They had to sit him out to make sure that happened for a game. So, yeah, a lot of talk in the building. Shout out to everybody in the building. Greg Brewer, what's good? What's good? I appreciate you, my guy. Candy Angel, what's good? Daniel Berry Sports, what's good, my guy? How you doing? How's the channel going? Happy Thursday. This is sad, man. You know it's rigged. Yeah, man. I've seen I've seen the videos. I've seen the reporters, forgetting to hit the button and all that. It's horrible, bro. What do you call a Raider fan who used to be a 49er fan? Ben Gay? That's funny. Four quarterbacks. Four quarterbacks. What do you mean four? For what? For what? For what? Chiefs out of the playoffs. You never wish ill intent on anybody, right? You never wish injury. Shout out to, Patrick Mahomes, the GOAT of the NFL, right? Hopefully speedy recovery. He's already, rehabbing, already had his surgery. He'll be ready to go. But if one thing I did predict this year, right? I said the Chiefs dynasty was coming to an end and they would not make the playoffs this year. So go back, check out those videos. But yeah, I had already called that. I knew a dynasty couldn't last forever. They already had, internal problems with Their star players yelling at their coaches on the sidelines. Um, players getting arrested. Just a lot of stuff going on in that building that no matter how great of a coach you are, how great of a player you have, when there's problems inside, man, it's hard to fix. The only reason the Raiders, the only reason to be a Raiders fan is to wear your favorite color. I mean, if that's why you're a Raider fan, shout out to you, but that's wild. I'm sure Raider, right? I think it's way more dedicated than that, bro. Just a little bit, just a little bit more dedicated. Um, Alex M, what's good, man? Appreciate you. So yeah, man, let's talk about Houston. We have a problem, right? We have a problem in this organization, and it starts with the top. I know you've seen the thumbnail, right? So let's get into it. Tom Brady, um, right? Tom Brady came in and was supposed to be this, great controller that was gonna help draft the future quarterback, which he still might, right? And how do we know he didn't? I mean, that's another topic for another day. Pete&Geno can hit the door by Felicia, right? And hopefully that happens, man. But at the end of this video, at the end of this live, I'm gonna tell you a reason why Pete Carroll and Geno could weasel their way back into Raider Nation. And stay tuned. We'll get to that at the end. But Tom Brady, man, what has Tom Brady done, right? I made plenty of videos when he was brought in saying Tom Brady is not going to have the control that everybody believes. He is not going to have, the say that everybody believes. He's not in the building. He's not in the day-to-day. And it's very hard to watch film with everything that Tom Brady has going on, to watch film on the Raiders, pick up the phone, say, this is what I see. This is what you got to fix. When you're not there, when you're not foot on the ground, at the practices, seeing what's going on live, when you're not at the games live because you have other games to commentate. And there's been reports, by other sports analysts, whatever you want to call these guys, that say Tom Brady needs to have, be in the building. He needs to have boots on the ground, right? He needs to see what's going on a day-to-day basis inside that building, whether it's practicing, whether it's working out, whether it's the meeting, the film room. Are they even watching film right? Because when you look at this team and you look at the play on the field, there's no way you could tell me that Geno Smith is watching film like he claims he's watching, right? The dude didn't even know we were 2-12. He said, what are we, 2-2 what? Come on, man. You're checked out, bro. When you're a quarterback, I've never met a quarterback in my life that doesn't know the team's record. No matter if you're 2-12, 15-2, a quarterback always knows, bro. That's the leader of the team. He knows damn well what that record is. He knows damn well how many interceptions he had. I'm sure he knows how many yards rushing, how many sacks he's taken. Come on, man. These quarterbacks know everything. But for Geno Smith to act like, oh, what are we, 2 and whatever? You can't tell me these guys are in there reading film, watching film, are watching it correctly. There's no way these teams this late in the season are changing their defenses completely around to face Geno Smith and the Raiders and their offensive line. Come on, man. There's nobody scared of this team. Everybody knows how to beat this team. You send 4 guys. We can't stop them with 5, no matter, who it is, no matter who's out there. They send 4. They said, they drop 7 in coverage, and Geno has nowhere to throw the ball. Kenny Pickett has nowhere to throw the ball. Aiden O'Connell probably wouldn't have anywhere to throw the ball, but we don't know. We don't see him out there. But man, there's Greg Olsen, not our Greg Olsen, right? Not the quarterback coach that was moved up to the offensive coordinator, but Greg Olsen, the tight end, former tight end for the Carolina Panthers, right? Now sports commentator. Continuously Sunday talked about how the Raiders defense can't even perform basic tasks. This is not the offensive line. He's talking about the defense. This is Pete Carroll's side of the ball. This is where Pete Carroll is the guru, right? Cover three spy that I thought was going to, really, really help this team. But I didn't know he was going to run it 49, 47, 48% of the time, every single game. That's absolutely crazy to me. So Pete Carroll's defense, man, this is your defense that you're handcuffing Patrick Graham, who is a brilliant mind. This dude's been around, Belichick. He's been around what you call it in Miami, right? He's been um, Tom Coughlin with the Giants, right? This dude has been around brilliant coaches, and we just, Patrick Graham. I feel for the man. He said today, I haven't had a winning record with the Las Vegas Raiders since I've been here as the DC. And I don't feel like it's Patrick Graham. I feel like every coach that has come in has had their part and their say on the defense, and they have their guys that have their say on the personnel. I think if Patrick Graham had 100% control of the defense, of who he drafted on the defensive side of the ball, I believe this team would be way farther along than they are right now. Because right now, I mean, it's a mess, bro. It's a mess. You got Tom Brady. Again, back to Tom Brady, right? Who didn't want Sam Darnold. Didn't want Sam Darnold. He did everything in his power, to get Matthew Stafford to come to the Las Vegas Raiders, except two things. Offer him a first round pick. The Rams would have traded him. They already said, right? You could have had Matthew Stafford for a first round pick. We would have been looking back for our quarterback maybe next year or possibly the year after. But the Raiders didn't want to give up a first and a second round for Matthew Stafford. So how bad did Tom Brady really want to win? And how bad did Tom Brady really want Matthew Stafford in the building if that was the asking price and they weren't willing to give it up? I mean, what did we do with our first round? We drafted Genty. And I know he doesn't have an offensive line. And it looks like he's just giving up when he has the ball. But the vision, man, the vision. We'll talk about that another time. Let me stay up to these. No way Geno even wants to stay anyways. Well, they asked him about that in the press conference. They said, do you want to be here with the Las Vegas Raiders? And he said, I plan on winning a lot of games. So, is it all a fairy tale? Anthony Woods, the Raiders suck, bro. I know. I mean, they're 2-12. You're not coming in here, giving us no Albert Einstein genius quotes or nothing over here. The Raiders are the dumpster fire, and Geno. Raider might suck, but we still have the #1 uniform in the NFL. Great. We have the #1 uniform in the NFL. The logo and the jerseys are goats, losing in style. I mean, yeah. I guess if you're going to lose, you might as well lose in style. But, I mean, are they really? Because look at the teams around the NFL that have evolved with their color schemes. And, I think a lot of teams have some sick-ass jerseys, and the Raiders are falling behind. We're stuck in the same silver, same black. Like, let's mix it up, man. Add some, some stripes to it. Some kind of different color. Let's go back to the, to the silver jerseys, and the black pants. Man, we're the only team in the NFL that doesn't have a color scheme. We have the same silver and the same black. We wear white on the road with the same pants. Why can't we have black pants? Why can't we have pants with, black stripes on the side anymore, or white and black, or something, man, something. We got to do something to change it up. Maybe that's the problem. We need to change our jersey. Maybe we'll get better. Patrick Graham only been here since 2022. Yeah, he's been here 3 years. No, 4 years. He's been here 4 years. 4 years, man. 4 years. Or 3, right? No, 4. 4, because Josh McDaniels had a full year, right? The year that Derek Carr had 5,000 yards passing, the year that Devontae Adams had 14 touchdowns and over 1,200 yards receiving. That year, that great year that we had a quarterback, we had the #1 receiver in the NFL. And then the following year, he got part of a year, right? And then AP took over. And then the following year, AP had a full year. And now this is his 4th year with with another washed up 74-year-old coach. Man, it's bad. Raiders lost to the Eagles 31-0. We also lost to the Chiefs 31-0. It's just a bad team. Um, but I feel like, man, look, I know people are gonna hate me and they're gonna kill me in the comment section. Probably they won't because nobody comments on my videos. But I believe Patrick Graham deserves his chance with this Raider team, man. When you hear him talk about opposing offenses and why they're good, his little any windows that nobody else sees, right? And maybe we'll do a video on that. His little any windows, the way he comments, the way he talks about the other coaching staff and how they prepare their quarterback and how their run game is prepared and how their blocking scheme is prepared. Patrick Graham isn't going into detail and talking about how the other team's quarterback, run scheme, and blocking schemes are prepared just to talk about it. He's trying to let the Raiders know, bro, every team we face has this that we don't. When they ask him about our offense, he says the same thing, bro. No blocking. You can't run the ball. Ashton Genty has no gaps. There's no space. When he does have space, he's timid to go through it and he makes the wrong decision. But I believe Patrick Graham, man, if the Raiders can't find their guy this season, right? If you can't find somebody that's just the all coach we have to have, maybe you give Patrick Graham a shot, man. Maybe you give Patrick Graham 1 year, 2 years. Say, look, we know you know quarterbacks better than anybody. You're a defensive coordinator, right? You've played against Patrick Mahomes 2 times a year, 4 years, right? You played against Bo Nix, the rookie quarterback, right? I mean, we played against Jaden Daniels. Come on. Patrick Graham knows quarterbacks. He knows offenses because that's what he coaches against, right? A defensive coordinator is going to know offense. He's going to know run schemes. He's going to know blocking schemes. He's going to know how to put an offense in the best situation. And he's probably going to know the best offensive coordinators out there are up and coming young guys, right? Because you hear him talk about special teams guys. You hear him talk about other teams' passing game coordinators. You hear Patrick Graham talk about other teams' run game coordinators. Why isn't he talking about ours? Because they're lost. Because they don't know what they're doing, man. And in his press conference today, he was asked a bunch of questions, and he started getting irritated, right? He started getting frustrated because he can't answer the questions the way he wants to. When you're a DC, right, and you have integrity and you have respect, for the guys you work for, you're not going to go out there and throw them under the bus and put them on blast. But I guarantee you, if Patrick Graham could say what he wanted to say, he probably could fix a lot of this team, bro. A lot of this team. Pete&Geno are full of lies, bro. Everything they say is a lie. Fun fact, Geno Smith's nephew, Jeremiah Smith, elite wide receiver at Ohio State. I know, but what's that got to do with Geno? It's not going to help Geno see the defense. It's not going to help Geno Smith's arm. It's not going to help him his pocket presence. It's not going to help his pre-snap read. It's not going to help his decisiveness or his decision making. But yeah, he does have a very, 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 very good receiver in his family genes. How's it going? Candy Angel, what's good? Appreciate you. Cincinnati all the way. Bengals, man, they ain't any better than us. Put them back in Oakland too. Did you say that part yet? But, man, they're never going back to Oakland, bro. They had opportunity after opportunity for Oakland, the city of Oakland, to keep them there. And they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't do it. They didn't want them to do it. But yet they want to talk about, changing their inner city and getting rid of gangs and violence and the drugs. Wouldn't a football team and a baseball team, having those professional guys in the city help with that? But nah, you got rid of the Oakland A's. They probably get rid of, the Golden State Warriors pretty soon too. They already talking about, expansion teams. So you never know. But I don't think Oakland is ever going to be an option again. At least you have a cheerleader. Browns don't have cheerleaders. The Browns don't have cheerleaders? What? Are you for real? I did not know that. I never really pay attention to the sidelines. I'm watching a football game, but I did not know that. Um, if every contingent thing requires an explanation, what explanation the existence of the entire system? What what are we talking about over here, bro? What are we talking about? Are we trying to talk football? You going way over the chat's head. At least women cheerleaders, LOL, right? Have to respect Rebel for sticking with his team, even it's been through roast. Man, I've been doing this for 50 years, bro. I mean, not YouTube, but shit, I'm I bleed silver and black. Cut me, I guarantee you. Um, yes, we need good young minds like a Chris Shula and Clint Kubiak. Pigs, what's good? Did you see that Barstool tanking clip featuring Gruden I sent you? No, I did not get it. Did you send it to the right? I was trying to find you too. Is it the is it Pigs 76 on X also? Because I'm gonna try to find you. I gotta look on my other one. Maybe you sent it. I have two X accounts, but no, I did not. And I was trying to find it. I looked everywhere. I can't find the damn thing. PG is good at his job and could do better than what's been shown. And I think Lawrence, my guy, was good. Appreciate you. What Kinder is ahead of the time? I don't know. Fucking dog. Really? 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 But yeah, man, Patrick Graham is a brilliant mind, bro. He's got did you get that lot lizard I sent you? Yeah, I sent her back already, bro. She's already on the way back. Coach Carroll lost his marbles for real. He is meddling. Got the team all messed up, bro. I mean, from the jump. And let's talk about this. Let's talk about Pete Carroll and his son, right? Pete Carroll's son, Nate Carroll. Nate Carroll has been with Pete Carroll his whole entire career. Brennan Carroll, on the other hand, has not. He is not, right? He's tried to go other places. They did not last longer than a year. But what is the deal with Brennan and Nate Carroll, right? You have Nate Carroll, who's been the assistant wide receiver coach, I do believe, quality control coach. He's been the offense senior assistant. He's been the offense assistant with Pete Carroll. He's been the passing game coordinator, I do believe, with Pete Carroll. He's been all these positions with Pete Carroll. The only time he left was one time he decided to go to the Carolina Panthers and be the passing game coordinator there. And it lasted one season. He was fired. Back with Pete Carroll. But Brennan Carroll, on the other hand, right? Brennan Carroll started out as a tight ends coach. Didn't work. So they moved him to assistant offensive line coach. It didn't work. So he got fired. Yes, got fired. Maybe he got offered a better job. I don't know. I don't know. I wasn't there. But he was no longer with the Seattle Seahawks. He moved on to, I believe, Arizona. I think it was Arizona for a little bit, right? To be a tight ends coach there. Lasted 1 year. Fired. They moved him to an offensive line assistant. Fired. Came back to Seattle. Right? They put him at a job there. Offensive assistant, a coordinator, or assistant run game, or whatever he was. Didn't work. The next year, they gave him a different job. Didn't work. So then he goes to Washington, right? Destroys Washington's offensive line. Was a horrible offensive coordinator there. They were 164th ranked offense in all of college football, I do believe. Not great, right? Didn't they were like in the hundreds or I think 16th in the run game, but they had great running backs, but their offensive line was not good, bro. And then you bring these guys that haven't done anything without riding their daddy's coattail to a team that was 4-13, that needs to be rebuilt, an offensive line that needs leadership, guidance, and some kind of design, and you bring in your son that has failed everywhere you've put him to think he's gonna help you. it's, it's it's tragic, bro. It's absolutely tragic. Arnie Garza, what's good, my guy? Um, it just makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. Salute Rebel, Arnie Garza in the building. Appreciate you. Question: Can AOC win the last 3 games with the offensive line if he starts instead of Geno? Um, I don't see AOC coming in with no time with the first team receivers, right? His receivers like Kenny Pickett, are guys like Cedric Jackson, are guys like Jack Besh, right? Are guys like Michael Mayer, guys like Carter Runyon, right? Those are the guys that AOC has had time with, and AOC has never taken snaps from Alex Kappa. He's never taken snaps from Jordan Meredith. The only person he's taken snaps from on that offensive line is hurt in JPJ. So Pete Carroll has said that he's got, reps with the ones, but he means against the first team defense, not with the first team offense. Kenny Pickett even put him on blast last week and said it's finally nice to get some reps with the first team offense. But Pete Carroll has been saying for the last 4 weeks that Kenny Pickett and AOC have been getting reps with the first team offense. So just lies. But no, to make a long story short, I don't think I think AOC will make the game look better, right? I don't think we have a defense for him, to stop the Houston Texans. They're just going to run all over us. We don't have any answer for Nico, not one whatsoever, no matter who we put over there. It's going to be a long day, bro. It's going to be a long day for our defense. Now, if our defense could hold them to, 13 points, then I think Aiden O'Connell could come in and score more than 13 points in this offense. Yes. Same thing with the Giants. Same thing with Gardner Minshew and the Chiefs. But the problem is, AOC's not going to get a chance. Pete Carroll will not play Aiden O'Connell. I've said this since the beginning of the season. Aiden O'Connell will not get a rep, unless both quarterbacks get hurt or unless he's forced to get that rep. Because Pete Carroll has already made his bed and he has to lie in it. And he can't look any worse by putting in a 4th round pick to come in and run an offense better than Geno Smith and better than Kenny Pickett. And if you don't think Aiden O'Connell is better than Kenny Pickett in his career, 1st round pick career, has 16 touchdowns and now 15 interceptions because he got one last week. Aiden O'Connell has 21 touchdowns to 12 interceptions. That's a big difference from a rookie that didn't play on any good teams, that didn't have, a lot of good fires. So they won't put Aiden O'Connell in. They're going to ruin his career just like they're going to do Cam Miller. They should have never drafted this kid if they plan on drafting a quarterback in the 1st round this year. It's just a waste of talent. There's no competition. Maybe if you get a better head coach, right, that believes in competition, and you have a quarterback competition, somebody will get to play. But I think Aiden O'Connell's, I think the best thing for him is for the Raiders to just move on. Let him go somewhere else that's going to battle. He's going to be able to battle for a spot and show that the kid should be a quarterback in the NFL, in my opinion. But with the offense, with the offensive line, with the play callers, it's so easy to call bad plays, right, to not help your quarterback. So, I mean, it's rough in the NFL, bro. I got fired over some BS at my job. That's messed up. Remember, which college football quarterback do you like in this year's draft? I don't like any of them. I mean, I'm going to be honest. Cade Klubnik might show something. I don't think he's going to be invited to the Senior Bowl or to any of those bowls, but if he does, he might show something there. He might show something, in the private workouts at the combine. We'll see. Same thing with Drew Allar, right? Then you're talking about, Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson has 13 career starts in college football. That's not going to work in the NFL. Statistics show guys that don't have at least 30 starts, 25 to 30 starts in college football are bust in the first round in the NFL. It's not, you know, it's not a guessing game. It's actually statistics and numbers, right? So Ty Simpson, no. Lenorius Sellers, no. Fernando Mendoza, even, right? Doesn't even have that many snaps up there, right? I think he's in his 20s, 24, 25, which, it's okay. But I don't think Fernando Mendoza is a generational talent, right? I don't think you pick a quarterback in this year's draft because the nation says you need a quarterback. And I think if Mark Davis and his franchise and the people above listen to the fan base in this situation and they draft a quarterback just to draft a quarterback to shut up the fan base, I think it's going to put us back even farther. And it could be 10 years, before we're good. Because if you draft a quarterback and everybody says just draft your quarterback, right? And it'll come. You can do what the Houston Texans did. No, we can't. We don't have a team the Houston Texans do. The Houston Texans have, I think, since 2019, they have all those first round draft picks on their team. Since 2019, the Raiders. From 2019 to 2023 have two. And one, my bad, one. Tyree Wilson. And if you're going to say Colton Miller, it was 2018. So that's why I said 2019. If you look at these teams that are rebuilding like that, right? The Washington Commanders, they had first round draft picks they hit on. The Raiders haven't hit on anybody. Josh Jacobs out of the building. Alex Leatherwood out of the building. Damon Arnett out of the building. I can just keep going on and on and on. This team needs first round draft picks. We need talent. We need blue chip talent. And the only way to get blue chip talent is to pass on your quarterback and trade back. If you're one, if you're two, somebody's going to want that quarterback. The New York Jets got 3 picks, right? The Rams got 2 picks. I don't believe the Rams are in the market for a quarterback next year. I think they're smart enough franchise to wait till next year when there's going to be, possibly 8 first-round quarterbacks that could possibly come out of next year's draft. So why would you draft a quarterback in this year's draft sitting at 1 or 2 when there's only maybe one first-round pick, right? Dante Moore. Is he going to come out? I don't think so. The little birdie in my ear says Dante Moore is going to stay. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, but what about his offensive coordinator? He left and went to Kentucky, right? Is that going to be a problem? There's a really close relationship between, Shane Steichen, his offensive coordinator, jump ship. He's going to go head coach Kentucky. So will that change his mind? I don't believe so. If you look at his snaps, and career starts, it's not enough. It's not enough to risk your career, risk your money to come out of college when you don't have, not even 20 starts under your belt. The statistics show you're going to fail, right? You're going to go to a shitty franchise that you just don't have enough experience to try to bring him back, right? Bo Nix, the reason he's, doing so well, the reason the Broncos are 11-2, are 12-2, or whatever they are, it's for a reason. The kid had experience, right? You can plug him in right away. He's seen every defense. So I'm not on this quarterback train. Now, if you're telling me 3rd round, then there's a lot. But I don't think, I think John Mateer goes back to Oklahoma. Lenorius Sellers already said he's going back, right? I think Ty Simpson, if he was smart and his coach decides to stay at Alabama, if they go on a little bit of run in the playoffs, I think Ty Simpson will be back. Another kid that's got 13 starts under his belt. I'm not drafting a guy in the top 10 that's only started 13 games in college football, man. Look at the Mitch Trubisky's of the world. Look at the Anthony Richardson, right? If you look at these guys that have only had so many starts in the NFL, they don't become good until 5 years in the NFL. So if we're trying to be a franchise that needs to turn it around quick and win some games and make it to the playoffs, the Raiders can't afford to take a quarterback this year. And I know people are going to be pissed at that because, well, what if we get our quarterback? But what if? what if? What if? Who is our head coach? Who is our offensive coordinator? What kind of scheme is this quarterback going to be in? Is it going to fit the new coach? Are we going to go with Pete Carroll for another year, draft a quarterback this year, and then fire Pete Carroll and then bring in a guy that doesn't want that quarterback? I heard this guy is a closet Chiefs fan. Shit. You're funny. Oh. What up, everyone? Tyler, what's good, man? What's good? I'm kidding about the Chiefs fan comment. My bad. No, you good, bro. You good, dog. Um, Scottoyan name is Yes Man Superfruit. Yes. this this damn Scott Hoyen thing again. I just don't know what that is, bro. Um, was that Allegiant when they played the Broncos 2 weeks ago? I was sad. They overtook the place. Oh, it was full of orange, man. It was pathetic, right? It was pathetic. Full of orange everywhere. It's just the way it is. Question: which college or NFL first team head coach would you like to see as our head coach? Well, Arnie Garza, I'm still in the middle of my coaching searching process, right? Because you can't just jump on a name and say, man, I think this guy would fit. Um, and I know I'm not part of the team or, whatever. I'm just a fan and a YouTube content creator. But I'm still doing my homework. I have a lot of names in my head that a lot of people might not have that might get a shot, that might get, a look at just because of where they've been, the systems they've been in, the trees they've been in. Um, but I don't know right now. I really don't. I don't know what the future holds for this team. I don't know what their plan is with the draft pick. I don't know where we're going to be in the draft. So once we figure out, are we going to be first, second, eighth, right? Because we can lose one game. We can win one game and be eighth. So once the Raiders figure that out, I'll have an answer for you. But if you want to know what the little birdie is saying, there's a lot of names, bro. There's a lot of names. I think Clint Kubiak is a name that a lot of people are talking about to the Raiders, which makes a lot of sense to me. If you bring in Clint Kubiak and you could get Brian DeBall to be your offensive coordinator with a Clint Kubiak run-minded offense, you're a playoff team, bro. If you can get the right pieces, right? Those are two brilliant minds to bring in a building. You got Brian DeBall, that if you do decide to draft a quarterback, he's your quarterback coach. If you don't decide to draft a quarterback, you got a Jackson Dart in the building. Not a Jackson Dart, but a Jackson Dart type in the building, and Cam Miller that can run, that can throw on the run, and you can implement that style. You can have Brian DeBall, bring him up if that's the plan the Raiders go on. But could you imagine having a former head coach as your OC, which I guess we did this year, but that was 20 years ago, head coach, and having a Clint Kubiak? I think that would be a great, great, great duo, right? Would they step on each other's toes? Could it work? I mean, I don't know. I hear a lot of people talking about, Robert Saleh. Here's the thing with Robert Saleh, right? I don't think he wants anything to do with Tom Brady, and I think this is going to be a problem for a lot of head coaches coming in this building, and I'll explain why. Right? Tom Brady, he got Ben Johnson to come in and do his interview. Ben Johnson sat through the interview, walked out of the interview, and ended up taking a job with the Chicago Bears for less money. Now, we all know Ben Johnson wanted to stay in that division. He wanted to beat the Packers, right? He wanted to continue to, to be dominant in that division. but you take less money, which tells me whatever went on in that interview of who's going to be in charge, what their plans were, what their goal was. Ben Johnson was not a part of that. So whatever the Bears were doing was a way better option for less money. You never take less money unless you know, yes, you had a quarterback there, right? I know Caleb Williams makes a big, big difference. But he took less money. And then you have, Robert Saleh. You bring him in the building and you tell him, we're going to make you the highest paid defensive coordinator if you'll take this job. And, you'll be the predecessor to Pete Carroll. When Pete Carroll leaves, this is your head coaching job. Robert Saleh said, nah, I'm going to go take less money to coach the 49ers. There's a problem in the building. There's a huge problem in the building. When you lose two guys like that and you pay Pete Carroll, a 74-year-old man, $16 million. You don't think $16 million could have got Ben Johnson in the building? Obviously not. I don't know if that's what they offered him, but he took less money to go to the Bears. That's a problem. I think Mark Brady and Tom Davis's vision, yes, I said that, of this team is not what coaches are wanting, right? They know. Spytek is in the building. Tom Brady guy. They know. Tom Brady's trainer is in the building. Tom Brady's ears. He's with these guys. He's training them. He's in the workout room. He hears what's going on. He hears what's being talked about, right? He's in the building. Who else has he got in the building? Spytek went and got 3 scouts from the Eagles, the Broncos, all their top head assistants, right? You went and brought these scouts in. So you got scouts in the building that are Mark Davis, or that are Tom Brady's guys, that are Spytek guys. They know everything that's going on in this building. They have eyes and ears everywhere. They had to pay Pete Carroll $16 million to get him to take this job. And they had to allow him to bring in Brendan and Nate Carroll. That is a desperate organization. That is a very desperate organization. If you're willing to let a 74-year-old man bring in his kids and bring in family, when everybody knows that if you run a business, the last thing you do is you hire friends or family. Because if they don't perform, do you have the balls or the heart enough to fire them and tell them you're not living up to your expectations, my expectations, and it's time to move on? And that's a problem when they're your kids and your family, right? that's his seedlings, bro. So it was a rough go from the beginning with Pete Carroll. And I think that, nobody's going to want to coach this job, man. Nobody's going to want to take it. Somebody's going to want full control. They're going to want full control of the roster, full control of their coaching staff, full control of the guys being brought in, right? And I know for a fact Tom Brady and Spytek are not going to give that up. We already know, Mark Davis has said, Tom's the guy, right? Tom's the guy. But if Tom needs to be that guy, he needs to quit Fox. He's not going to do that. You're not going to quit a $340 million job to come coach the Raiders because you own a little 1% in. That's not right? Tom Brady needs that money so he can buy more stock in the Raiders, right? You can't take over a team unless you have, closer amount of stock. But what I'm saying is you're going to have a problem getting coaches in this building, man. Nobody's going to want to have Tom Brady calling you on the phone and saying, I want you to do this on the offense. I want Alex Kappa in no matter what. If you have to put him at center, if you have to put him at right guard, if you have to put him on the defensive line, I want Alex Kappa in, right? You don't think those calls are coming from Tom Brady and Spytek? I posted a video on X. I also made a little short. If y'all didn't watch it, go watch it. John Spytek, when they brought in Amari Cooper, right? When Aiden O'Connell got hurt, the last time he did an interview, the last time anybody heard from John Spytek, who's just disappeared and turned into a ghost, he said, right, we're going to bring in Amari Cooper. He's a veteran. But then you said that you didn't have room for Tommy Millott because you had too many wide receivers, but you had already released Tommy Millott way before you brought in Amari Cooper. But anyways, what I'm getting at is in this interview, he said he loves playing rookies. He thinks rookies should be on the field developing, learning the speed of the NFL, right? Learning the physicality of the NFL. They should learn on the fly. Spytech, I posted it. Go watch. Said he wants to play rookies, but he does. It's an ongoing fight with coaches trying to get them to play the guys that he wants them to play. So that's Spytech words. So we know right there, Spytech wants to play rookies. Pete Carroll doesn't want to play rookies. Brady doesn't want to play rookies. He thinks quarterbacks, offensive linemen, all these guys should sit for a year. So there's nobody knows what's going on in that building. Everybody has a different direction and a different mindset of where they want to go. And then you have the fact, like I said, that Tom Brady has all these people in the building. Who's going to want to come and coach that no matter what you say, no matter what you do, even if you have a thought, somebody's going to know and call Tom Brady and say, this is what this dude's thinking. Like, nobody's going to coach like that, bro. You're not going to get anybody in here. So I hear all the talks about, Jesse Minter. The Raiders would be crazy to try to get Jesse Minter. I don't know if how loyal he is, but I don't think he would go to the Raiders and coach against John Harbaugh, who has done everything for this for his career. He has ties, yes, to Michigan, but I think if anything, he'll go be the Michigan coach. So I think that's off the list. And there's a couple of other names I'm hearing, right? Mike LaFleur. I've heard a couple people talking about Mike LaFleur all of a sudden. You heard me talk about it last year and the year before. I think his time is coming. Comes from that Sean McVay tree. You could bring a whole bunch of people from that Sean McVay tree, offense, defensive wise. He's also been with the Jets. So there's a lot of coaches, man. There's a lot of coaches, but we got to keep doing our research. Well, speaking of coaches, let's talk about this. I'm going to give you 3 names that probably none of y'all ever heard of, probably don't know who they are. But they are definitely on the list. Let me find it. What else we gonna talk about? Oh yeah, so I told y'all right before the last 2 years I've talked about the Raiders need to steal that blueprint from the Houston Texans. They need 2 first-round picks if they're gonna turn this around. And you got to have a already solid offensive line and a defense that was just one player away, right? They got 1 or 2 players, and that defense is 9th in the NFL. But it all has to do with coaching also. All right, coaching-wise, a name to look out for, Davis Webb. Now, if you never heard of Davis Webb, he is the Broncos quarterback coach. He's kind of like a Gruden, right? Kind of like a Gruden. Well respected in all of the NFL. If you mention his name to anybody that means anything or knows anything about the NFL, they know exactly who he is, right? Probably in his on their contacts list. He is a man that loves football, but he's a quarterback guru, right? A lot of people will call him, the quarterback whisperer. Not the Sean McVay type quite yet, but a lot of people believe that he could be that guy, right? And right now he's the Broncos, like I said, quarterback coach. Been around the NFL, a lot. Played in the NFL, I do believe, for the New York Giants for 7 years, was drafted in the 3rd round. So, well respected around the NFL. A name to watch out for offensive coordinator, right? Davis Webb. Another guy to watch out for. I don't know why. I'll get to that. Another guy to watch out for is the Carolina Panthers offensive coordinator, right? Look what they've done with Bryce Young. Look what they've done with that offensive line with a bunch of, 1st and 2nd round wide receivers over there that are starting to come into their own. This is all a part of Brad Idzik. Brad Idzik. A lot of people are like, who the hell is that, right? Never even heard of this guy. Well, some people, my age or older might have heard of his father was John Idzik. He was a the general manager for the New York Jets back in the day, right? So this man has been around football his whole life. He knows a lot about football. Um, he also has that, you know, that super, psychomotor. He's the kind of guy that, if you put him, you know, in a cage, you'd probably, rip his way out of the cage, right? Just psycho, high energetic guy, loves football. But the Carolina Panthers, man, that offense, what they've done with Bryce Young, right? Who's a smaller quarterback, who's got to roll out of the pocket, who needs throwing lanes to throw the football, right? Done a damn good job. Another name that's circling around that not a lot of people have heard of and probably don't know who he is, but his father has ties in the NFL, and we all know, the nepotism in the NFL, right? It all comes down to who you know in the NFL, or who you blow, depending on which way you go, and we all know how that works. But just a name to look out for. Brad Edzik. You're going to hear that name in the NFL in the next couple years a lot, right? Maybe even sooner than later. Um, Another guy that a lot of people are talking about in the NFL, right? Frank Ross, the Texans special teams coordinator. Now, I know you're like, special teams coordinator, bro. How's this dude going to get a job? He's got a lot of experience in the NFL. Sorry, I was trying to listen to some. All right, I was trying to find all that shit. So, not a lot of experience in the NFL, right? But he's been a quarterback coach at John Carroll College, which is a smaller college. Also was a special teams coordinator and the running back coach there. 2013, 2014. You know, Indianapolis Colts. He's been for 2018 to 2020 was the assistant special teams coordinator, and now this year he is the special teams coordinator for the Colts. For the Houston Texans. If you're asking me why I'm bringing this up, man, you'll see. You'll see Sunday when we play the Houston Texans. Their special teams unit is special. That's why they call it special teams. It is special. They tackle. They force fumbles. They hit like boom, like trucks. Every single play, right? These guys are physical. They're fast. Their defense plays fast. This is all a part of Frank Ross, right? He's a guy that he takes time to ask the players, right? What side do you feel more comfortable on special teams, right? You like lining up on the left side or the right side? Do you like this formation? Do you like these plays? He's a hands-on, players coach, and a lot of players have a lot of respect to him already. Just the 4 years that he's been in the NFL, and a lot of people know his name also as well. So, listen for that name, check it out. But watch the Houston Texans, man. Their special teams. They were, I think this year they lead the league in yards and return offense and turnovers on special teams. So a damn good, very well coached special teams unit, and a guy that could move up to be an offensive coordinator very very soon in the NFL. Rebel new coach with will cut Geno. AOC will be a bridge quarterback in his last year for the Las Vegas Raiders. Um, if they bring in a smart coach, that realizes that Aiden O'Connell, man, Aiden O'Connell, right? You know who Aiden O'Connell's personal quarterback coach is? Does anybody know? Does anybody know? It's the same guy that coaches Patrick Mahomes. Did anybody know that? Did anybody know that? He's also the same guy that coaches a kid that's an Arkansas boy named Kane Archer. Write this down. Write this down. And write my name underneath it. And give me credit when you tell everybody in there the chats. I'm just kidding. But write this down. Kane Archer. This kid is going to be special. He is a crazy, crazy, crazy athlete. He played defensive end and then switched to quarterback because he was like, man, this is way too stupid. Like, see ball, get ball. Like, I'm too smart for this, right? So, and nothing against defensive ends, but the man stepped over to the quarterback side, and he's a freak of nature, bro. He has a 78% completion ratio in high school, just dominating. So he he committed to UFC and then decommitted. Now he's committed to Utah, I do believe. But he could possibly decommit with Silverfield taking over for Arkansas. It might come to Arkansas Razorbacks, next guy. But Aiden O'Connell's personal quarterback coach said Aiden O'Connell is the best, most accurate quarterback he has ever coached. He has coached over 350 college and NFL quarterbacks throughout his career. 350. A lot of them are pro NFL quarterbacks. A lot of them are, guys that he trained in college became first round picks. Says Aiden O'Connell is the most one of the most smartest quarterbacks he's ever been around. He said, his love for football is more than he's ever seen, right? The dude just raves of Aiden O'Connell. So hopefully, just maybe, they won't listen to Raider Nation, and they will actually just look at the man's accuracy, the way he plays, and he could be a bridge quarterback for a year, man. I wouldn't be mad at that. Be a bridge, for this year and draft a quarterback next year and let him compete. If you try to have Aiden O'Connell as a bridge, the kid might very well turn out to be your franchise quarterback, though. I don't know. Yes, they should set Aiden free to have a career someplace. I mean, I know. Do you think the Raiders are gonna win the next game? I don't think the Raiders win any more games. At least I hope. Raiders need to bring back Terrell Pryor. We're going way back, way back. How many games did we win with Terrell Pryor, bro? Why do all y'all think like Michael Vick and all these guys? How many games have the Ravens won this year? Like how many playoff games do the Ravens win with that mobile quarterback, bro? And quarterback is an intelligent mind game. It is a game of chess. You have to know defenses. You have to know defense disguises. You have to, have good pre-snap read. You have to have accuracy. You have to be able to lead guys open. You have to be able to know, where guys are, if they're on the outside shoulder, on the inside shoulder. Can I throw a fade? Can I drop it in the bucket, right? Can I rip it in there? Can I lead this receiver and, let him get yards on the catch? Bro, it's not all about running. If you want a runner, you get a running back. So, Terrell Pryor was fun, bro, but how many games do we win, right? How many games do we win with Jason Campbell? We've had all these mobile quarterbacks that have done shit for us. The only mobile quarterback that was halfway mobile that did anything was Rich Gannon. Question. Geno versus Gardner, the last game of the season. Who wins? Who is better? I'd take Gardner Minshew all day. All day long. He's on a way better team. He has a way better offensive line. He has way better coaches. The Raiders will just get out coached. And I think they could put in their third string quarterback, or even their practice squad quarterback could come in and beat the Raiders right now. Will they want to beat the Raiders, and will they try to beat the Raiders? That is the big question we have in the nation right now, right? Watch Geno Smith. Wait, what? Watch Geno call in sick before the Texas game. He called in sick last week, bro. You don't think that's what happened? He called in sick as hell. He was like, bro, I am not going to Philadelphia in the cold in 20-degree weather and getting hit, 8-10 times a game. I believe that Mahomes, he will in 1 week next season. I will call him Mahomes Redemption Tour. I don't know, man. I don't know. That team is on the downslide, bro. And I called it, like I said, at the beginning of the season. A dynasty can't last forever, man. There's just too many things going on, too many problems, out of the building, in the building. It's just bad. Rebel, put your GM cap on. What do you do? First thing you would do to change the Raiders' legacy? Fuck it. the GM can't do what I need to do to change this legacy, bro. The GM don't have that much power. So even if I put my thinking cap on and my GM cap, I still couldn't change this Raiders. I still couldn't. But if I was the owner of the Raiders, I would convince Tom Brady to stay the hell out of the building. Stay the hell out of the building. Do not talk to anybody. Do not call nobody. Do not look at the game plan. Do not look at our personnel. You're an owner. We hire people to do those jobs. Let them do their jobs. Unless you want to come in and be, president of general operations, and you run everything, and Mark Davis pays you to run everything, which would be crazy for him to pay another minority owner to run your establishment. But Tom Brady, bro, Tom Brady's going to have to pick which way he wants to go, right? So far, all his decisions have been bad, whether it was Chip Kelly, whether it was signing off on Geno Smith and Pete Carroll, right? Those are decisions that he had to sign off on. So I would fix that. I would start at the beginning. And then as the general manager, once you have full control, I'd be like, bro, I need control. I need control if you want me to change this. And if I had control, it would start with the coaching staff, right? I would interview everybody I possibly could. And I'd probably interview everybody I possibly could twice and, narrow it down to the top 3 or 4. And I'd interview them a third time. But I would have Patrick Graham in those interview rooms, for all those interviews and let him, get a heads up. And then I'd interview him for those spots and start with there, man. Find a coach that can work with you, right? You tell him your plan, he tells him your plan, and you find the coach that is closest to the same, same objective, same vision for this team on how to change this franchise around and fix this legacy. Whoever it might be, whether it's Gruden, whether it's, Mike McDonald, I don't know. I don't know who, but whoever they get in, man, it has to be somebody special. And it has to be that somebody that's, on board with what's going on. And that person has to have ties, right? When I ask you, who's your offensive coordinator? I don't want you to be like, okay, I could pick this guy, this guy, this guy, or this guy. Nah. If you're coming in to interview for a job, you should already know, this is my offensive coordinator, this is my special teams guy, this is who I'm going on defense, right? And whoever comes in with that best plan and that, the best option, then I'm rolling with that. And I'm trading back. I'm telling them, if hiring you is because the first round pick and you get your quarterback, then let's go that route. But this is all on you if it doesn't work, right? Now, if you're trying to fix this, the best thing to do, right, is if we end up number 1 or number 2, is get all the capital you could get all the blue chip players in this building you can get, and spend in free agency, man. You can't do like we did last year, have 100 and what did we have, 130, 40 million or some shit last year, and we went into the season with 45 of it. You have to get guys that you think are franchise guys that are going to be here longer than a year. Last year, we had 26 free agents. This year, we have 23 free agents. Now, I know Spytek has talked over and over again about building through the draft and keeping players in the building. But all that went out the window as soon as Pete Carroll came in, right? Because Pete Carroll let Trayvon Moorhead go. He let Divine Diablo go. He let Nate Hobbs go. Right? They let all these guys go that were Raiders, that were drafted Raiders. But you told us you wanted to keep those guys in the building. So you have to find a coach on a game plan and go from there, man. I don't think trading Max Crosby, is going to fix anything or do anything. I think you can get enough first round picks this year and next year if you have the first or second pick. And then you have to hit on free agency. We need 2 linebackers that can cover hash to hash, right? That can drop back and play Tampa too if you need to play Tampa too. Um, Devin White, I would bring back just to be that Mike linebacker, right? You're going to be the Mike linebacker. You're going to put everybody in place. You're going to blitz, and you're not going to be in coverage. You don't have to worry about getting smoked 5 yards down the field, 20 yards down the field. Um, it's not that hard, man. It's not that hard. I'd play every offensive, every young player right now. If I was Spytech, I'd be on the phone saying, I don't care what you want to do as a head coach, right? My job is above yours. And I say these players need to play because I need to know where we're going next year. Do we need another safety? Do we need two safeties? Do we need two corners? Do we need four linebackers? Like, what do we need on this team? And we don't know. We have no idea because nobody's played, right? Charles Grant comes in and he looks like a stud to me. He played 3-4 snaps. One snap, dude, he drove dude all the way, across the field and pancaked him, just like he was doing in practice that we talked about, right? So you have to find a coach that's willing to not have to coach for his job like Pete Carroll's doing, right? I believe the whole reason Pete Carroll doesn't want to play the rookies is because he's still trying to win now for his job. But I think, he's so old and delusional that he thinks winning a game or two or three is really going to help keep his job when really it's probably going to get him fired. So it starts at the top, man. It starts at the top. Again, Jed Hughes. Anybody remember Jed Hughes? Somebody let me know. I'm going to get through these comments real quick. Oh, shit, there's a lot of comments. Good Lord, okay, I'm not getting through all those. Jesus Christ, I'm so far behind. Rebel, if you had the first pick in the draft, what would you do? Who would you draft? I would trade back. I would trade back. I would trade back. I would trade back. I would trade back just like last year, just like the year before. Like I said, there's one quarterback that everybody's talking about, Fernando Mendoza. Next year, you got Julian Sayin, you got Lenoris Sellers, you got, probably Dante Moore, probably Ty Simpson. You have a shitload of first-round caliber quarterbacks coming out in 2027. Why would you draft a quarterback this year? Now, if the Jets, with all their draft picks, want Fernando Mendoza, give us some capital and come get him. If the, I don't know. If the Cowboys, with all their first-round picks, want to come up and get, Reuben Bain, or want to come up and get Arvell Reese, which would be crazy. I mean, the Cowboys, they could use Arvell Reese. And if it was me, that's who I'd be going and getting. That front seven would be crazy. But do they want to take a chance of, him falling to the Cowboys of where they're at? Or do the Cowboys want to move up and go get him? So, the Arizona Cardinals, they got a bunch of picks. The Cleveland Browns, they got 2 picks, right? So if these teams are calling me and wanting to come get their quarterback, man, I'm trading back. I'm trading back, and I'm probably going to trade back again, right? Because looking at this draft, I don't know where a tight end's going to go. A tackle's going to go, but you have Francis Muai, however you pronounce his name, I don't know. That's the only one that I think is a tackle that's probably going to be a tackle, right? If you look at the 2 guys from Utah, I think Lomo, whatever, however you say his name, will probably stay at a tackle position. But I think the other guy, Fano, will probably more than likely, be moved to a guard position at the NFL. So, and then you got, Caleb Downs, who's a safety. If you had the draft, I think trading back, right? You can trade back, you can get your guy, you can get possibly another first round or a bunch of picks this year and a first round next year. It just makes sense. I don't see a world where the Raiders draft the only quarterback in the first round because they have that pick. To me, that's franchise suicide. The Raiders going to clean house this year. They will be fine if they draft well. Plus, they pick up vets. but they are drafting a quarterback. Carroll is gone along with most of the staff. 100% facts. Geo in the building. What to do, my dog? Raiders go hard. Also, do you have diabetes? What? Why would you say that? Do I have diabetes? The hell kind of question is that, bro? Shaking my head and I hate Matt Nagy. You hate Matt Nagy? Why? Um, Mike LaFleur has a nice resume. He has a sick resume, bro. You know, and he doesn't call plays, but Furpo in the building. Raiders. I think he's needy of a team. Matt Nagy, he's probably going to get a coaching job somewhere, man. But I don't know. That offense has looked bad up and down this year. Nope. Gruden coming back. Don't be surprised. You know, I'm glad you brought that up because the only person that Mark Davis trusts more than Tom Brady is John Gruden. So if anybody was on that short list, it's John Gruden. Um, Now the fact that John Gruden said if he got back in the building, he would bring in Derek Carr, that might be a possibility. That might be a possibility. And a lot of Raider Nation is not going to be happy with, Gruden because of his draft or whatever the scenario is. But if you bring back Gruden and tell him, look, I know you want to coach. How bad do you want to coach? Do you want to coach bad enough where you don't need full control? Because I'm hiring you, but I need you to bring in an offensive coordinator. I need you to bring in, you know, or let us bring in the defensive coordinator. We're just going to bring you in as a head coach, and we're picking your staff, and we're bringing in all these guys that we've brought in that were top assistants, top draft analysts and scouts. Right, we're bringing these guys in, and they're going to have most of the say of the draft. Right, they're going to do their due diligence and scout. You tell us what kind of players you need, and we'll find you those kind of players. And I think that could work. I mean, I really do, because nobody. Mark Davis doesn't trust anybody like he trusts John Gruden. So when all else fails, I mean, you're still paying the guy. You might as well bring him back in the building. Um, because of the simple fact that I said, who's going to want to take this job, right? If the Raiders say we're not picking a quarterback with our first or second pick, I don't think anybody takes this job. I really don't. I'm calling it now. Mahomes is the MVP to redemption tour. Stop. Clint Kubiak is an excellent quarterback whisperer. He is. And if you put him with Brian DeBall, I mean, that's nasty, bro. That's just filthy work. Dude, read your comments. Man, I am reading my comments, bro. I've been in a million chats, and I've never seen anybody read everybody's comment. Nobody but me. I read everybody's comment. I go through them. It takes time, but I never see anybody, like, unless you hashtag to pay for the comment to be read, which I don't require here. So get off my nuts, bro. Get off my nuts. I'll get to you. I'll get to you. And I'm talking, bro. I'm on my soapbox. Yeah. Bye. If things don't get better this season, there's always next season, man. We've been saying that for years. My son is such an asshole. He just told me he's going to show me live on these days. Just to get me to cash out. Nice. Raiders. Purple in the building. Unleash Raiders. Shout out for the $10 smackaroo. Raiders, let's go. First round pick coming. Favoritism. There's a lot of that in the building. I just read somewhere where Mark Davis came up with the hand warmer. Yes, he did. Yep. That thing everybody sticks their hands in. Yeah, that was Mark Davis' invention. Raiders are ass cheeks. Man, I know. My dad is obsessed with the Raiders. You sound like my son. I'm obsessed with the Raiders, and he don't give a shit. Saints, who that be? The Saints are worse than the Raiders, bro. What do you mean? What do you mean? I mean, they do have Tyler Shuck, but that's about it. It was the must-style hand warmer, yes. The ghost of Spytek will reappear after the season is done. Yeah, he's in hiding, bro. He's in hiding. Thoughts on Phillip Rivers playing? Shout out to, old man Father Time, bro. Coming in, running the offense and, It just goes to show why Aiden O'Connell, with the right offensive line, could be the best quarterback in the NFL, man. You have Phillip Rivers, 50 years old, can't move, got got titties bigger than my girl, got a gut, and he's coming in and hanging, right? And hanging. Everybody thinks it's about the quarterback, right? It's about your system. It's about your offensive line. It's about protecting the quarterback. It's about the weapons around the quarterback. I'm not saying anybody can come in and run an NFL system, but anybody with an intelligent mind and an arm can. I guarantee you. Raiders should go after Tua Tagovailoa. Bro, are you on crack? West Philly. Come on, man. Come on, bro. Tua Tagovailoa. You know he has more interceptions than Geno Smith. Geno Smith has 14 interceptions this season. Tua Tagovailoa has 15, bro. 15. With a better offensive line than the Raiders. With a better running back than the Raiders. Shit, with better receivers than the Raiders. And a way better defense. Oh my God, a way better defense. Tua Tagovailoa should not be playing in the NFL with anybody. Are you watching the game tonight? Yeah, I'll be watching. That will work for AOC when he's playing in Canada next year. The kid ain't playing in Canada next year, bro. You don't know talent at all, my guy. What do I want tonight? What do you mean, what do I want tonight? I want to be rich. Malik Starks has been cooking for the Ravens. Man, all these rookies have been just balling out, bro. Hey, what's up, man? Been watching college football. I'm more of a college guy. Appreciate you, Melvin. What's good? What do you think? Rosetown in the building. Myers getting a 3-year extension, $60 million. Well-deserved with the Jaguars. Wow, what a franchise, right? Shout out to that franchise. Way to come up. Do the right thing, right? You realize you got a guy in the building, and you keep that guy. You know, I heard a lot of talk about Pete Carroll wanted to keep Jacoby Myers. That's funny, because I just listened to an interview with Spytech, how he raved about Jacoby Myers. So unless he's full of shit. Raider Ryan, what's good, my guy? Appreciate you. Seattle smoking the Rams 100,000%. That's a lot. Rosetown Facts, I love seeing Jacoby thrive in a good situation. Man, every Raider goes and thrives in a good situation. And it don't even have to be a good situation. It just has to be an okay one. Right? You go to an okay team. I mean, look at all our first round picks, bro. Cleve Farrell over there. Now he's not the greatest, but he got more sacks than everybody on our team in one game, 2 games. Amik Robinson just killing it over there with Detroit, right? He's their best, slot corner. Just eating teams up over there. As a Raider fan, do you think it was a bad move leaving Oakland? I mean, if you're looking at our record, if you're looking at the fans in the stands, yes. But I guarantee you, if the Raiders were 2-12, Oakland would be just as empty as it is now, bro. The only reason Oakland was ever full is because broke-ass fans could afford to go there, right? It was cheap. Right? You can't afford to go to Vegas. My broke ass can't afford to fly to Vegas and pay $1,000 for one seat. So the reason the Oakland was a hit the way it was is because it was in Oakland. it was in one of the worst cities in the damn United States. So tickets were cheap, man, and they're not going to be cheap here. Unreal Straight or getting off work. Appreciate you. What about Charles Woodson? What up? What's up, dude? Predicting the Epstein files tomorrow. I don't know, man. I don't have any predictions for that. I don't know. He's interested in coaching. Who? I know the Eagles won. Shout out for the $4.99. Appreciate you. It's time they draft a decent O-line. How do we know we don't have a decent O-line, right? How do we know? Like, we keep saying this, draft a decent O-line. I mean, everybody raves about, JPJ, who can't stay healthy and can't stay on the damn field. He's been out with concussions. He's been out with ribs. He's been out with an ankle. He's missed more time than he's played. But if he can stay healthy, you have Colton Miller. You have Jackson Powers Johnson, right? You have a guy like Leaky Fotu that, with the right offensive coordinator and the right offensive line coach, can develop this man into a damn good, guard. that nobody's getting by. He's got a, a 7 foot wingspan. Like, um, we have offensive linemen. We don't know what we have because they're not playing them. Caleb Rogers, has given up 2 pressures in his last 2 starts. No quarterback hits, no sacks. That's pretty damn good as a rookie drafted in the 3rd round to come in on a horrible, horrible team with no offense and be able to only give up 2 pressures. Charles Grant, like I talked about earlier, he came in, he played 4 plays. All 4 of those plays, he was standing this guy up, right? He's moving guys across the field. Um, that's our tackle, right? So you have a tackle, you have a guard, you have JPJ, you have Colton Miller. You can move JPJ back to center and go get one of the best guards in the draft. Um, Tyler Lindenbaum. There's a lot of people saying, go get Tyler Lindenbaum. I don't believe the Ravens are going to let him walk out of the building. They'd be absolutely clowns to do so. Um, but I believe this offensive line is a lot better than people think. I think we're a lot closer than people think. I think the future is bright. You have guys like DeCamarion Richardson, who I believe can play, out there. Caillou Blue Kelly, if he stays around. Eric Stokes looked all right. Darian Porter looked all right. Um, Tommy Eichenberg looked pretty decent when he got some reps last week, right? He got a little burn. He had a goal line stand. We have some players on this team, man. We have to know what we have before we know what we're drafting. And I don't, it would be nice to have a 1st round draft pick, right? The only 1st round pick we have on the offensive line is Colton Miller. The only 2nd round pick we have is JPJ. And the only 3rd round pick we have is DJ Glaze. The rest of them are undrafted free agents. So, I mean, it would be nice to have one, but I don't know. I just don't know. It would be nice if they drafted, you know, their starting right tackle this year, um, and had, Charles Grant as the replacement for Colton Miller in the future. I'd be good with that. I think there's a lot of talent on this offensive line. I just don't think the scheme is the scheme is not going to let anybody play to their best ability or shine at all. Do you think we will be able to get the 1st round pick? Do you think it's going to be another team? And we keep the 2nd. Dante Moore is a good fit. Dante Moore has 13 starts in college football, bro. Or 18, my bad. He has 18 college starts. That's not enough experience to come in and be a 1st round pick in the NFL draft and be expected to start by Raider Nation next year. That's just not. It's not. I think Dante Moore has all the skills in the world. I love his talent. I prefer him over Mendoza, but Mendoza has the experience. And I think if Dante Moore comes back, another year in Oregon and a good system, and if he does well in the playoffs, he's going to be the #1 pick next year, I believe. But if he comes out this year, bro, it's just crazy. It would be crazy to me. I think he's just setting himself up for failure, and his agent should not allow him. His parents should not allow him. His coaches should not allow him to come out when you only have 18 starts in college football. It's a recipe for disaster. They said you sound like an owl. Yeah. Whew. That's what they said. Yeah. Who's they, bro? Who is they? Kyler Murray is going to be a Raider next year. That's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard in my life. The kid wants to play video games all the time. He's not prepared. He doesn't read defenses. He doesn't study film, from what I hear. He's 5'8". It's not gonna work, bro. It's not gonna work. Mac Jones. To be honest with you, I'd rather have Aiden O'Connell over Mac Jones. I put left and right nuts on it. If you put Aiden O'Connell with the 49ers, he's better than Brock Purdy. Guarantee you, bro. He could throw better than Brock Purdy. He could read defenses better than Brock Purdy. His accuracy is better. The only thing he can't do is roll out of the pocket and, pick up some plays with his legs. But Mac Jones is okay in the right system. A lot of these quarterbacks y'all talking about are if quarterbacks. If they have a great offensive line, if they have a running game, if they have 2 #1 receivers and a great tight end and, a great slot receiver. If they have all this, yeah, these guys are good. But we don't have all that. Derek Carr comes out of retirement for the Raiders. It could happen. I wouldn't be mad at that. What, Gruden coming back? No, no, no. I didn't say Gruden's coming back. I said it's the biggest possibility, right? It's the biggest possibility. Mark Davis has more faith and trust. Gruden. He was pissed off when Gruden got when the emails were leaked. He even went as far to say Gruden had his head cut off. So, I mean, just if you look at it. But here's the thing with the Gruden thing. So pump these brakes. Pump the brakes. John Gruden wanted to stick with Derek Carr and didn't want Tom Brady. Tom Brady, before he went and won the Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Bucks, was going to come to the Raiders. And John Gruden said, I don't want Tom Brady. I'd rather stick with Derek Carr. There's a little problem there. Same with the AP problem with AP beating Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. Tom Brady has an ego trip, bro. And if you don't think a dude with 7 NFL championships and has been, talked about as the greatest quarterback to ever step foot on a gridiron has an ego, we're all blind and stupid. So I don't think it would work. I don't think Gruden and Tom Brady would work at all. Now, if Mark Davis said, Tom Brady, you go do your job, right? You go do your Fox thing and you worry about your other businesses, and I'm taking over running my team back and I'm going with Gruden, then it could possibly work. But with them in the building together, nah, bro. Are you dabbing? You could dab for me. And we all know Gruden can't draft, man. Like the draft, I mean, okay, you say he can't draft, but we did get Max Crosby, right? We did get Amik Robinson. We did get Nate Hobbs, Trayvon, right? No, we didn't get Trayvon. Shit, I don't know. But I mean, we did. We had some dogs. We had some fails, but every team does. If you want to look at this draft and the players that have got on the field, I mean, it's been a complete fail. But I think there's some dogs in the building too, and I think Pete Carroll is just holding this team back. He's holding the players back. He's holding the culture back. He's trying to change it to something that happened in the '80s. We got to move on. We got to move on. What are your thoughts on the Raiders taking Savannah Jackowski in the first round all them years ago? I thought it was crazy, but it turned out to be, Janikowski won us a lot of games. A lot of games we wouldn't have won with, a kicker that can only kick 40-yard field goals like Daniel Carlson, right? So a lot of people, would lose their mind if you took a kicker in the first round nowadays. But Sebastian Janikowski was just one of those dudes, man. He was just one of those dudes. Greg Brewer, what's good? Nasty weather for the next few days. Ooh. What were your thoughts and your opinion on Jerry Rice, the time in Oakland? Should they have kept him longer than they did? I think Jerry Rice's time was up. I don't think he wanted to come in and play with a different quarterback. After Rich Gannon got hurt, I think it was pretty much, he was done. I think Tim Brown was done. But if Rich Gannon didn't get hurt, I think they probably would have played for another year or two. Raiders, even though we're trash, I still always support the Raiders. Wacky Knight, what's good, my guy? Like, subscribe, follow, double tap the screen. If you could see yourself exactly as you see you, would you recognize the person you're looking at? Or would you be meeting a complete stranger? I don't know, bro. Probably a complete stranger. I'm gonna say a complete stranger, cause y'all could see me, but y'all don't know shit about me. Tennessee Titans, Kansas City Chiefs Sunday, Nissan Stadium, Nashville. Travis Hawkins, go Titans. Nice. Watch the Kansas City Chiefs lose to the Tennessee Titans and help out my Raiders. Make sure we get that at least top 2 spot. The ball in the building. Man, y'all looking good. Raiders probably will choke in the first round. Raiders, shut up. NFL championships don't exist, sir. What? NFL championships don't exist anymore. Oh, okay. Shout out for the 199. Holla, appreciate you. Raiders. Raiders are trash. Can you tell the story of how you came out as being gay? You're a clown, bro. X Power, what's good? What's good? Shout out to Chicago. Go Bears. Man, do you think the Raiders should pick up Jake Delhomme after Rich Gannon went down, continue winning? I don't know if Jake Delhomme would have helped us win any games, really. Will Max stay with the Raiders? Max is a glutton for punishment. More than likely he will. Um, Same, I don't ever see myself being on a bandwagon type of fan. We will return to glory and it will be great. Um, yeah, we should return to glory one day. I just don't know when it's gonna be, man. Like there's a lot of things, and a quarterback is not it. A offensive lineman is not it. Um, there's a lot of pieces we need. A lot of pieces we need. So I don't know, if getting rid of Max Crosby would help turn around this organization, but I do know teams that have let their overpaid players go, and yes, I'm saying Max is overpaid. Um, when you let those guys go, good things seem to happen. Good things seem to happen, right? You get more picks, you get more guys in the building. Like I said, the Raiders have Max Crosby and Colton Miller and um, and I guess you could say Eric Stokes since 2018 are the only three first round picks we have in the building. If you look around the NFL, most teams have 7 to 8 in that span. That means every player they've drafted in the first round has hit on. They've hit on, and the Raiders haven't. So until we until we figure that out, and I think we got the guys in place. I like Spytek's draft. I liked his vision of the draft. I wasn't too high on taking Jack Besh in the second round, but I believe he can be a number two receiver for a lot of teams in the NFL. He's physical. He runs decent routes. He's got hands of stone. I think a lot of these players that Spytek drafted are going to come show that, they were the right move. So I have faith in Spytek. The Raiders need things with Chandler Jones and get them back. Here's Mad Max on the edge. Will be a lethal. Chandler Jones has major issues, bro. One day, one day. Chandler Jones has major issues. Why are you concerned if another man is circumcised, bro? That's messed up. That's some homie shit, homo shit, not homie. We try not to do homo shit in here, bro. I'm just saying. Well, yeah, man. So I gave y'all some coaches to look at. We talked about Max's knee. Shit, what else was I missing? What else in my notes? I'm gonna get the hell off here. I'm hungry. I gotta eat. I think that's it, right? That's all, folks. But yeah, man. So I'm gonna leave you with this. Um, what are your thoughts and feelings on Nnamdi Asomugha time with the Raiders? Oh my God. During his prime, would have taken over Devin Reese. Um, just another stupid decision by a later Al Davis, right? Al Davis, in his later years, the last 10 years of the organization, just was not um, up to par with where it was, where it used to be, where it should be. And, trading Nnamdi Asomugha to the Eagles was probably one of the worst things the Raiders did, besides letting Charles Woodson walk, letting Marcus Allen go to the Chiefs. All of those are horrible things that the Las Vegas Raiders did, and we're paying for that now, right? So one day, I don't know, maybe if it like the statute of limitations, maybe it takes 7 years before those things go away. But most of those things happened a long time ago, and they're still lingering in this organization, man. So until we right the ship, right our wrongs, apologize to the football gods, right? Blow whoever we need to blow to get back on top and get back in the good graces of the NFL, man. I just see this team continue to struggle. I see it. I just see struggle. I just see struggle in the future. Like, even with the new coach, right? This fan base is too impatient. This fan base, including myself, thinks they know it all. They know how to fix the team. Some of them, Mark Davis listens to and is the reason we're in the situation we are in now. But with the people that are in the building, with the Jed Hughes, right? Jed Hughes that I talked about, nobody answered me. Jed Hughes was brought in to pair the general manager with the head coach. They paid this dude millions of dollars from the Corn Ferry Tour, a dude that is involved with golf. You brought him in to pair John Spytek with Pete Carroll. It is a failure. They are still paying this man to be in the building. So until somebody figures out what is going on, until they listen to people in the building like Charles Woodson, like Lincoln Kennedy, until they start listening to the guys that really know what's going on in Raider Nation, content creators that follow this thing to the death, until they start listening to people like that, I just see ourselves in the same situation. He was traded to the Eagles. I remember his name. How awesome. Was a pass rusher. He was a dog, bro. He was a dog. One of the greatest corners to ever ever don a silver and black. And the limited time he was there, his first couple years weren't great, but just stupidity, man. Just stupidity. But yeah, until we figure out which direction this ship is going, right, to set our sails, this organization is going to continue to fail, continue to draft players that are not needed, because we don't know what is needed in this organization. So until Tom Brady steps up or steps down, until Mark Davis puts the right people in charge and gets the people out of the building that have hidden agendas, the Raiders are going to still be the same. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. As always, protect yourself, protect your family, protect your mind, and protect your loved ones. And always just win, baby. Raiders!